Hi everyone, welcome back for another moment of a daily dose of hope. Brief encounters really matter. If you know what you can achieve in a brief encounter, it could change how you view these tiny snippets of time where we serve other people. I want to invite you into a patient experience so you can hear what I saw. In this case, unexpectedly, I encountered a veteran who was still at war. When I arrived at this simple home that morning, the outside was not very tidy or cared for. It's what you would expect from two aging adults in their 90s living all alone. This unshaven, 91-year-old African-American man greeted me in his housecoat. He was wearing his oxygen cannula. Inviting me in, slowly made his way back to his couch. He had been recently admitted to our hospice program with congestive heart failure. I noticed severe edema in his ankles and feet. He had very little appetite. He was tired, weak. He was clearly nearing the end of life. This gentleman provided information about his medical condition and how he was coping. I extended active listening and validation of his feelings for emotional support. At his request, I provided some scripture reading and prayer that were all facilitated consistent with his Baptist background for spiritual support. During admission, this patient had identified as an Army veteran, so I decided to explore that. I asked, "What can you tell me about your military service?" Although I wasn't expecting it, here's where the real magic of this brief encounter really began. He described his role as a World War II Army veteran. "I fought in France, Germany, and Italy," he said. "I was part of the D-Day invasion on Omaha Beach in Normandy, France. There were bodies floating everywhere. I don't know where I found the courage," he said, "but I began to run with my rifle in front of me right into enemy fire." And he went on to describe the yelling and explosions and carnage that he saw. I traveled to Normandy, France just a couple of years ago and toured the beaches and museums and cemetery there so I could visualize this scene he was painting in my mind. So as he reflected, he continued, "War is the worst thing that can happen to people." He said it's demeaning for any human being to be taught how to kill another unknown human being. When I would pull the trigger, I knew I was completely changing that man's family and legacy forever. And to my surprise, he put his face in his hands. He wailed and cried deeply. "Why did I make it back safe? Why didn't I get killed or my legs blown off?" His 90-year-old spouse shuffled into the room. She said, "Honey, I've never seen you cry. Are you okay?" "Yes," he explained. "I guess I just needed to get some of this out once and for all." After a moment of just silent reflection, I asked permission to pin an American flag on him. So as I pinned the flag on the collar of his housecoat, I said, "Sir, thank you for your service to our nation. Thank you for your sacrifices. Thank you for serving our country, enduring hardships, risking your life to maintain the freedoms that we enjoy. When you see this pin, please know that we're thankful and grateful and that your service is deeply appreciated." After that pinning ceremony, he said tearfully, "Thank you. No one's ever done anything like this for me before. It means a lot." In reflection, frankly, I did not feel adequately equipped to handle these strong memories and emotions that surfaced in him that day. I respected him. I listened with empathy and patience. And some time has passed since that moment with him, and that's taught me that maybe I did enhance his quality of life and helped him to grow holistically even at the end of his life. But as this vet gave language to his inner turmoil, I realized afresh the power of brief encounters. My job was to help him through that turmoil, not as a problem solver, but more as a shepherd. We can't always resolve the multiplicity of issues that our residents, our families, our co-workers, or our patients are facing. We are more powerful than we think. A single moment can change everything. It can indeed change the world for someone else. Your brief encounters really matter. Now, the key to leveraging those brief encounters, whether it's a phone call or a FaceTime or a face-to-face encounter, the key to leveraging it is being fully present. I had a wise mentor and football coach that told me, be where your feet are. Mentally and physically, he said, just be where your feet are. So what he meant by that was being fully immersed, being mindful of what's going on right now. In his case, not thinking about the last play in football or the next play, but just being fully present in that moment. Just giving yourself fully to what's happening right now. So that mantra of being where your feet are, that has helped me to improve my concentration, to eliminate distractions, to connect with people at a deeper level. At Otterbein each day, we have these brief moments that can make a powerful difference. But if we hurl ourselves into the next activity, we'll miss opportunities. If we get too distracted by COVID-19, then we won't be fully present. Being where your feet are is tactically relevant to our success. Thinking about the next activity or rushing and pushing your way through your day, you'll be distracted. If you're too concerned about the next problem, you won't be fully there with your patients, or the next meeting, or maybe your face buried in a screen. You're not really there. That's a broken connection. So our residents, our families, our patients and their partners will pay the price for that pace and cadence of our lives. Being where your feet are has kind of become my North Star. It's what I want to be known for, frankly. As I practice that habit of being where my feet are, it's much easier to really say yes when the person in front of me needs to unload his or her burden. Because I was where my feet were with this man that day, it became okay even when it wasn't okay. With a greater amount of peace and dignity, this man died about 10 days later. His expression of peace was now embedded permanently on his face. And about 6 inches below that calm expression was that flag pin proudly on display on the lapel of the suit coat in his casket. It gave evidence to the fact that brief encounters really matter. So build with me this habit of being where your feet are. Be 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 where your feet are.